The New York Yankees could use some support in their infield, especially at second and third base, considering that they lack lineup depth, and those positions haven't provided them much value to this point. With a strong enough farm system to pull off some significant trades, the Bronx Bombers are expected to be active ahead of this year's trade deadline, and today we're looking at 3 infielders who would give them a much needed boost to their lineup and potentially get them to the promised land and get them their 28th World Series championship. Before we get into today's video, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell. It is all free. Share this video with a friend. Make sure you guys get our content out there. We want to hit the goal of 20,000 subscribers, the big 2-0, and we would love if you guys could help us along the way. We appreciate your support. We appreciate you guys even watching this video or listening to this promo here. It's deadline season. Expect a ton of content. And now, with all of that out of the way, let's get into today's video. Currently fighting for the AL batting crown, Luis Rengifo is one of the most prominent contact hitters in the game right now. He rarely strikes out, he's super aggressive in zone, and we're starting to see him do a little more damage on contact, but there are still some legitimate concerns about his profile. The lack of consistent power makes it hard to ignore the seemingly inevitable regression he should have. The Yankees do need somebody producing like Rengifo has at the top of their lineup, but that doesn't mean there isn't risk involved here. On the season, he has a 319 average with a 362 OBP and a 448 slugging percentage, but his 355 WOBA and 299 expected WOBA are definitely somewhat of a concern. He doesn't have the barrel rates or exit velocity numbers that he did last year, and there's some worry that he could plummet in the second half. Trades are about what a player will be, not what they were, and that does inherently tank Luis Rengifo's value a bit here. What I do love is the fact that he's already swiped 22 bases at a 78% success clip, as the Yankees are a slower team that struggles to generate much value on the base pass, but Rengifo struggles defensively at third and second, and that flies in the face of what the Yankees need, considering they have a very contact-heavy bullpen, and they have some starters who rely on some batted balls going their way. Am I necessarily the biggest Luis Rengifo fan? No. But I do like some of the things he brings to the table, such as that aforementioned super aggressive in zone rate, as teams are attacking the leadoff spot for the Yankees with pitches to hit because they do not want to let traffic on with Juan Soto and the incredible Aaron Judge hitting second and third. Letting pitchers go after Luis Rengifo could allow him to just get a bunch of pitches in zone and do damage on them, and the Yankees would have to pray that he doesn't suffer some long-term regression in the second half. This is undeniably a risk, but it could be one worth taking if they believe he's worth acquiring. It should be noted that his barrel rates and exit velocity numbers were a lot better last year than they were this year, so I do wonder if there's maybe an approach change he can make to kind of fly in the face of a potential regression and take advantage of a shorter porch at Yankee Stadium. The San Francisco Giants are below 500, and I'm just not sure they're good enough to get back into the pennant race, but they do have a player who greatly intrigues me. Matt Chapman has cut his strikeout rate down to 23.7%, the lowest he's had in a season since 2019, and he's doing so while pulling more fly balls and posting a 110 WRC+. He's underperforming his 347 expected weighted on base average, which indicates that there's room for some positive regression if he maintains the same process at the plate over the course of a full season. And he looks like the well-rounded player he's been for years now. He is a positive base runner with excellent defensive value and some pop in his bat as well, but the patience at the plate could also make him a leadoff option for the Yankees as well. I have been a huge fan of Matt Chapman's game for years, as the profile has made a ton of sense for a Yankees team that has not had stability in the corner infield for years now. Chapman has the power to provide some home runs as well, and if the Yankees want someone to give them a spark, they'll need someone like Chapman who can barrel up the ball like crazy. Over 60% of the team's barrels this season have come from Stanton, Judge, and Soto, which isn't a healthy recipe for success. They'll need more hitters who can barrel up the ball, and he's a match for that profile. He is not an elite hitter, but he possesses so many positive skills at the plate that it makes him an extremely valuable player and a pretty well-rounded hitter at this point in his career. When the Yankees needed a third baseman after the 2021 season, they didn't trade for Matt Chapman, even though he was widely available. When the Yankees needed a third baseman after the 2023 season, they didn't sign him, even though again, he was a free agent and readily available. But this year, if he's made available at the trade deadline, he should be one of the Yankees' top options, as in both those cases I mentioned earlier, the Yankees had some preliminary interest in bringing him in, and he could fix a lot of their current problems. As mentioned earlier, he's cut down the strikeout numbers and has the same excellent plate discipline with strong barrel rates as he usually does, and this is a player who could take off in the second half, as again, the underlying metrics are great. In every single season of Matt Chapman's career, he has been an above average hitter and an above average defensive player, and the Yankees could use that exact kind of player at third base right now. His contract is a little bit weird, as he can opt out at the end of the 2024 season, or opt in and take another year of around $20 million in salary. If he opts in, that indicates either A, he didn't play great down the stretch, or B, he got hurt and will need to opt into that contract for financial security. So it does tank his value a little bit because teams know they're trading for a player whose contract will only extend past this year if he performs poorly. With that being said, the fit just makes so much sense, and I think the Yankees should be all over Matt Chapman if the Giants continue to spiral and then they end up making him available at this year's trade deadline. If the Yankees want to add somebody who can serve as a leadoff option, Jonathan India could be a perfect fit with his high walk rate, solid average, and excellent on-base percentage. He's having a bounce-back season after 2 straight years of injuries and mediocrity at the dish, following a Rookie of the Year campaign that had him burst onto the scene. The 27-year-old infielder is top 10 in on-base percentage and is one of the better options for a Yankees team that has struggled to get much of anything at the leadoff spot consistently, especially with Anthony Volpe's struggles as of late. India is a patient hitter who can set the table for Soto and Judge and has the contact chops to handle 2 strike counts as well, with pitchers potentially trying to attack the leadoff hitter. Because of the threat Soto and Judge already impose, you just don't want the leadoff guy reaching. Considering that India is a passive hitter, it would seem a little bit weird for me to advocate for him to be the Yankees leadoff hitter, considering how often they throw in zone there. But what doesn't get talked about enough with India is the fact that he just makes really strong swing decisions. It's not passiveness because he can't handle pitches in zone. He ranks in the 79th percentile in Seager score, which negatively grades a player when they don't swing at pitches over the heart of the plate. India is more passive than the average hitter, but it allows him to get on base, and he ranks in the 81st percentile in zone contact. So if he's in a 2 strike count and gets a pitch in the zone, there's a very good chance he's going to make contact and put a ball in play. He does not have great defensive value. I know outs above average and fielding run value likes him, but defensive runs saved really doesn't. So I'm going to go with the fact that he hasn't been a great defender in his career and say he's probably not a great second baseman, but he does actually have significant minor league experience at third base, and that was his natural position before sliding over to second. So maybe the Yankees are able to slide him back to where he's more comfortable at third. I also want to mention that when it comes to Jonathan India, the Cincinnati Reds do have 2.5 years of control of him, so it's not a guarantee he gets moved. And also, the Reds are in the NL Central, and not only is the National League pretty uncompetitive, but the National League Central isn't the greatest division outside of the Brewers, so they could always climb back into the playoff race. With that being said, Jonathan India is just a 123 WRC plus hitter with a 381 OBP. If you're a Yankees fan, you want that at the top of your lineup. You want a guy who can get on base and set the table for Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. He also does have 8 stolen bases and only been caught once, so that's a pretty good success rate with some decent volume. He'll probably end up stealing around 15 bases this year, and while that's not a great judgment of speed and base running value, the Yankees don't really have much to speak of in terms of base running value, so perhaps India is able to provide them a little bit of a spark there. The one flaw I will point out in India's game, outside of the fact there isn't much power there, is the fact that he has some pretty harsh home road splits. And considering he plays at Citizens Bank Park, and Cincinnati is a very hitter-friendly ballpark, I do have some concerns. And if the Yankees just weren't that interested, or other teams in the league weren't that interested, there are always gaps in public and market perception, and I think that's very evident in Luis Rengifo, but that could be evident with Jonathan India as well, so I did want to throw that in there. Still, if the Reds decide to sell and the Yankees think that India can help them, I do think the numbers are pretty enticing, and I do think he brings just a really electric and steady presence at the top of the lineup, which the Yankees greatly need. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section below. Are there any infielders at second and third base we missed out on? If so, make sure you guys tell us, and also give us some recommendations on some stuff you guys want to see. We want to make content for you guys, the Yankees fans, everyone who's really invested in this team and just wants to know either A, what's going on with the team, B, how they can get better, or C, anything above or anything about the Yankees. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, share this video with a friend. All of that stuff is free, and it helps us get closer to our goal of hitting 20,000 subscribers. It doesn't feel too long ago that we hit 10,000, and we really appreciate your guys' continued support throughout the season. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody. Let's go, Yankees.
Perfect.